Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another podcast of C&E. So this one's going to be a very exciting podcast, but before we begin, let's meet the group. I'm David Caduto.
I'm Shelby Stewart.
I'm Aaron Lanuza.
I'm Skylar Barty.
And today, we are only 48 hours away from arguably the biggest movie of the year.
Countdown is ticking.
It
one
is.
One of the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're talking, if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock for the last 6 months, we are talking about Captain America Civil War. This movie is huge, to say the least.
It has as big as a cast as Avengers 2, if not bigger.
Well, Marvel is like one of the biggest franchises right now in movie history. So
definitely.
Yeah, no, so basically we have 10 heroes, or 10 characters in this movie. Everybody from...
No, 10 heroes, because there's also a couple bad guys who
Yeah,
are on the scenes.
okay. So we have 10 heroes in this movie. So, Skylar, why don't you give us Team Captain America?
Oh, God. Team Captain America consists of the current, like most of the current Avengers. We have Falcon, Captain America, Ant-Man joining them. We also get... why can't I think of their names? We get Scarlet Witch is with them, and I think that's actually about it for their team.
Okay.
And then the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes.
Okay.
So,
and
then I know Team Iron Man.
Okay, so why don't you give us Team Iron Man?
Team Iron Man is Iron Man, Vision, and now I'm blank, Black Panther, and Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we have...
Oh, and War Machine. War Machine.
Where's the Hulk in this?
Hulk and Thor are... So Hulk left at the end of Avengers 2. He just kind of careened off into nothingness and they can't find him. And Thor went home. Thor is going to be dealing with Ragnarok, or his version of Apocalypse, in his third movie.
Okay.
So, basically we have 10 heroes.
Yes.
And so, the premise of this movie is basically the... So let's backtrack a little bit for everybody that's a Marvel fan. So Bucky Barnes was the Winter Soldier in Captain America Winter Soldier, and he was the lifelong friend of Steve Rogers, who basically...
The childhood friend, yeah.
Right, who helped him sign up for the war, and basically, all these years later he comes back and he fights him in Winter Soldier, and he eventually finds out it's Bucky, and he says, come back. And
Bucky was like so.
So Hydra took over, basically.
Well, Bucky fell into the clutches of Hydra, and then that sect of Hydra, that head, ends up converting him into the Winter Soldier, a ageless assassin.
Who has no memory of his past.
Yeah, they basically wipe his memory. They turn him into this perfect assassin. They give him a metal arm, and they turn him into their perfect soldier, only waking him up out of stasis every so often when they need a perfect hit.
Right, and I think that's a clip in the trailer where you see, him coming out of the cryo tube. So, basically, this movie is, as you were making mention before the show, it's Marvel's 13th movie. Yep. And so
movie, yes.
let's go around the room here real quick. What are you looking forward to the most?
Oh my goodness.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah, come back.
Aaron,
Okay.
what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I guess I realized how young this new Spider-Man is, so I'm really excited to see how he's going to be.
And I did
him.
Go ahead.
Well, I think that I was doing a couple hits on him as a character, but for Spider-Man, he's a new character to Marvel in itself, because Sony Pictures used to carry that.
Yeah.
That
Right.
franchise.
So that was the whole reason why. Basically, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and now they have they are able to use Spider-Man in bigger movies where they incorporate larger the larger cast, exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, he's they got Tom Holland because they didn't want to use Andrew Garfield, because they had already set up that New York doesn't have the Avengers in it. It's its own thing, and so they couldn't end up using Andrew Garfield. And the only reason they got to use Spider-Man is because Sony and Marvel are going to co-author the next Spider-Man movie, which has been called Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh.
So we're getting a full, in both versions of Peter Parker that we've gotten on the big screen, I mean, Andrew Garfield was a high schooler, but it didn't really feel like a high schooler.
He felt like he was a mid-20s kind of guy.
Yeah,
that really
and so
didn't fit
Tom
the mold.
Holland is going to be a revitalize of the character at his start when he first starts to be Spider-Man.
Around 15?
Yeah,
Give or
15,
take?
16. Around
Okay.
that time is when
Okay.
Peter Parker gets get bitten by the spider. And so we're going to get that version and then have him go and become... Like, he's not going to get to be a scientist until much later.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for a scene with him, Dr. Banner, and Tony Stark all together, like, geeking out over
That's
crap.
going
Like, it's
to
gonna
be
good.
fun.
There's got to be a Tony Stark moment with him.
Oh, absolutely.
easily,
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, coming back to you. So, what are you most looking forward to?
Oh, I'm just looking forward to seeing another Marvel movie because I feel like we've been, on this Batman vs Superman, this whole
Deprived.
DC train for a while now. So I'm always excited, and it kicks off. We talked about last week the summer blockbuster. So I'm excited that summer's coming. Like this movie kind of kicks it all off. So I'm just excited. I can't even pick just one thing.
Yeah.
It seemed like, there's so much hype about it. We've been hearing about it for around a year now. It's like, I'm excited to just finally see it. To be able to sit, enjoy my popcorn, and watch a good movie. With lots of action.
What's kind of...
It's going to be a good movie. We know
yeah,
it's gonna be
easily.
good. Yeah.
What's kind of funny to me is, though, is that, like, unlike, like, Batman versus Superman and, like, Star Wars, where, like, I was definitely excited for Star Wars, and I'll use that as my example. Where it was a big hype excitement.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this, but it almost feels like an obligated excitement.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
forced to feel excited about this because I like the other ones.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny for that.
So,
I mean, for me, like, because I haven't done mine, like, the thing that I'm excited for mostly is seeing T'Challa, Black Panther.
yes. And yes.
Oh, yeah,
And that's
that's
going to be a
that's
huge...
Because,
yeah.
like, you can't really, like, Marvel's not going to mess up Spider-Man. We already have all the other characters established. We know where they lie, But, like, the two things is, one, I want to see how they do Black Panther, one of the cooler Marvel superheroes that not a lot of people really know about. And the other thing is the storyline for this movie. Like, Captain America usually does a very good job of portraying a global event. In Winter Soldier, it was national security. In this one, it's loyalties.
Yeah.
And I highly like that.
Yeah, interesting.
So-
that he takes the part of the friend, or he wants to hold bonds to his friends.
Yeah. So...
I have to say, I don't think it's online anymore, but when, like, one of the first trailers came out, it was when Adele's Hello came out.
Yes.
I don't even know if you can find it, but I
Hello from the Iron
died
Side.
of laughter because they did it. The whole, like, they put the trailer to that song, and it's like, we used to be friends, and it's like, hello, like, the chorus. It was great.
He's
and
my
it was
friend.
Like,
So was I.
so was I. Like,
Hello from me.
yeah.
So,
And
just...
I think, too, like, this movie seems to have, like, a little bit different dynamic, because it's
Right.
like, it's always the good guys versus the bad guys, but now it's like, wait, Iron Man and Captain America, they're,
that came out
we
of
just
nowhere.
watched them battle each other, like, with each other, against all of these, like, bad people and bad situations for, like, the past, what?
Years.
How many movies?
Is
Like,
it
how many years? So I'm excited to see how this works. And obviously they're not going to end it with them, like, hating each other. So I'm just excited to see how it
I mean,
plays
maybe
out.
because like
Maybe,
the
who
actual
knows?
Civil War comic book, like Tony and Cap ended that comic book series on not the best of terms.
Yeah.
Like, granted, like they kind of like try to patch it up, but it was a very rocky patch.
Yeah.
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 Maybe what's gonna happen is that Tony Stark and Captain America are both gonna be together. They're going to be at a point where they're fighting, and then they're going to realize that their moms have the same name.
No, get out of here! Get out of here!
I'm sorry.
Okay, so...
You were trolling.
Yeah.
I know, I was trolling. I'm sorry.
So, a couple of things that I thought of. So, when you were talking about the first trailer, within the first... Well, first of all, let's backtrack real quick, because Marvel's done a really great job, as always, of marketing.
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
this is just some of the brand names, that you're going to be seeing in this new Civil War movie. Coca-Cola, Google, Samsung, Harley-Davidson, Audi, Pizza Hut, and Kellogg's. So, I mean, but I digress. So when you were talking about the trailer, the first one came out November 25th, so we're almost, 6 months away?
Yeah.
It got viewed 61 million times on YouTube
Yeah.
in the first 24 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
64 million times. And that's just unheard of.
Yeah, no, that's insane.
People
you know,
want this movie.
It's
that's what it
and
sounds
so
like.
this is one of those where it's like, okay, just a little couple of other tidbits. It set records in all of these different countries, and within the first 5 days of release, has made over $200 million, and that's overseas. So you can imagine, and it usually comes out a week earlier in all these different countries. So you can imagine the clamor that they're talking about and chopping at the bit. Now, I know that there have been releases, here and there, and but Thursday night is the big one. I'm going to go see it Thursday night, and I'm absolutely. Marvel is one of those. Well, they just know what they're doing at this point.
Yeah.
Here's something that I'm going to say, and I want people to understand this. Their numbers on day one are not going to be even close to as good as BVS, and is not going to be close to as good as Star Wars. And this movie is going to do good, financially.
They're
but
projected.
Go ahead. But their early numbers are not going to be as good as these other movies because they had a different type of hype around them. They were I need to see this now.
Yes.
Whereas this one is, I'm going to see this. It's just when am I going to see this?
2/3 of people that were surveyed of Fandango users out of 1,000 said they would go back and see it in the theater again. 2/3 of them
for this movie.
Yes, Civil War.
That have already seen it.
So
That's fair, but okay, that's
it was out of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
So I mean.
Take it with a grain of salt,
right.
So that's good.
And so I mean, for Fandango, this has set bigger records than Avengers and Star Wars. So I mean, I made mention I'm not a pre-sales guy, but
it's made by the Russo brothers, and they're very, very good directors.
Absolutely.
And I think they very much have an eye for this type of movie.
Yeah.
They really understand the source material.
They're doing. They're doing both Infinity Wars.
Yes.
So it's, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yes.
This is just, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've seen besides Star Wars, and Star Wars was in a galaxy itself, excuse the pun, but the fact is...
Pun intended.
Yeah, pun intended. But the fact is, I think this movie is just as big, if not bigger, than Star Wars, and that's been around for 35 years.
No. I would say Star Wars is definitely bigger.
Well,
I would say this is
Star
as
Wars
big
is
as
number one. We're not debating
this is as
that.
big as BVS.
I think it's in the universe of just how much money it's probably going to be making.
Right, and I
think it's probably going to be making.
But the fact that
you think BVS?
I think Batman vs Superman and this movie are going to be the linchpins of rivalry. I
have a feeling that this movie is just going to be making.
Well, it's going to depend on how. I think it's going to. Really
I agree. I just don't think it makes more than Star Wars.
No, nothing will ever make it much more than Star Wars.
But then you think of you think of Marvel, you think of Star Wars, you think of Lucas Company. What do those two things have in common? Disney, and you think of and oh my gosh, I mean, you have to give your credit where credit is due. Disney gets it done.
Yeah.
They find something that's gonna blow up. Well, I mean, Lucasfilm, obviously, that's that's just kind of knowing what you're getting yourself into, but they kind of jumped on Marvel in the early beginnings of it. And I heard a rumor, I read online, rumor is they're gonna expand part of California Adventure to make Marvel movie area.
That's a rumor right now.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't doubt that.
That's gonna be exciting for all Marvel fans.
And I wouldn't doubt that.
And it'd be awesome.
So if you go now, they have
they have
an area for it. They have a Star Wars area below and a Marvel area on top.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. But
that's in what's it called?
Disneyland.
In Disneyland, it's the old. It's the old World of Tomorrow building. So here's my question. There's been rumors, and I haven't seen anything confirm it or deny it yet, and someone who's listening probably knows. But or actually, by the time this goes up, it'll probably we'll probably have people who know that Cap dies. That's the rumor. That Steve Rogers dies.
And by the way, this isn't a spoiler.
What?
This is not a spoiler.
theory.
This is a theory. This is not a spoiler.
Which, the reason why, so the two reasons why I've heard this is because both other Captain Americas that have existed in time of the comics are on his team right now. It is a very heightened thing. We don't have a confirmed Captain America 4, until Avengers Infinity War. It's supposedly not going to be seeing Captain again. And so there is a theory right now that Falcon or Bucky Barnes takes over as Captain America like they have in the comics.
Well, it's going to depend on that's going to depend
and
on
like
a couple
they've already
things.
mentioned that there is a major death in this movie.
Well, and that's a quick scene of Steve Rogers as being a pallbearer. Now that could be. Look, there's a couple different things here. Number one, I mean, it could be, for all we know, it could be War Machine. And I state this because he gets shot out of the sky.
I don't think we have. There's enough. Like here's the when you kill off someone and there is there is actual a theory, or I shouldn't say theory, but there's an actual philosophy behind it, and, script writing, which is there has to be an emotional weight behind it. I think I've talked about this in BBS.
Yes.
So killing off War Machine, I don't think it has that emotional weight for the audience that it does. I think killing off Cap. I think killing off Bucky. I think killing off.
But in not to cut you off, but I think the one thing you could state there is Bucky's done so many horrible things in the past.
Yes.
That his past is finally catching up to him.
No, see, that's where I don't that's where I think that it will be Cap who dies, because one of the better storylines, at least in terms of writing, is to watch someone redeem themselves.
Absolutely.
That's a much better act. So having Cap die, having Steve Rogers die, and then Bucky take his place in order to, one, honor his best friend's death, and two, to redeem himself, we're going to get a much more interesting character that way, And I think it would be a very good storyline on film, and I think that's how you up the ante emotionally. I think that's how you get audience going, oh my god!
Well, I mean, me, I'm always for that oh shit moment.
Yeah. Him picking up the shield and then going right into it. That was awesome.
And so I wouldn't doubt, and I would not doubt for a minute that they have some twist that we don't know about, that somebody hasn't said, well, this is going to happen, and
Well, I already know the twist, but anyone who's read the comic knows.
Well,
to
a certain extent, but it really depends on how much of the source material they're going to use. And
I said, there's not a lot of the source material in this.
Okay, so that being said, I think that if that's the case, then I think that would be a huge way to go.
Does everyone here know the original Civil War storyline?
No.
Civil War is probably my favorite comic book from Marvel. Definitely in my top 3. The original storyline is that the government passes the Superhero Registration Act, which forces all masked heroes.
Sokovia Accords, correct?
I don't know what it was.
Yes, it was called the Sokovia Accords.
But it's the superhero. No, because it's the American government. That does it. It's the American government that does it, and it's called the Superhero Registration Act, which forces all superheroes in America to register with the government with their real name. And Iron Man, Tony Stark, who's currently the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the time, he takes over Director Fury's job, he's a complete advocate for it. Him, Mr. Fantastic, Thor ends up going on their side.
Well, because they're not trying to hide their identity.
Well, I'll get to that in a second, but what ends up making it a major thing, and Cap ends up being against it because he thinks it has to go against personal freedoms, but Spider-Man ends up revealing his true identity on national TV and comes out in favor of the Superhero Registration Act. And throughout the comic book, you have a lot of characters, like Mr. Fantastic ends up... his wife, Sue Storm, ends up leaving in the middle of the night to join Captain America.
How old is Spider-Man whenever he does that?
He's a renowned scientist at this point. He's older now. He's married to Mary Jane, I think at this point. But things happen to his family, and he ends up leaving Tony Stark's side and ends up joining Cap. Turns out that Reed Richards and Steve Rogers were being manipulated by a Skrull infiltrator, and you see how far down these people go in order to fight their friends, and how much this decision splintered the superhero community. And it was a very viscerally emotional. It was very a good storyline, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that we're going to get that type of emotion out of this movie, not that story.
Okay,
You know, because
right.
this movie focuses on the legality of what Bucky did.
Right.
You know.
So let me ask a question of everybody. What do you think? Because we know that there's going to be a cutscene here.
What the
do
final
we?
cutscene?
Yeah. So what do we think the final cutscene is going to be, or do we even take a gander? Why don't we start with you? Because no, seriously, this is your forte.
So like, if
What would
there's-
be your perfect cutscene?
So if there's two,
one would be yours, and one would be what we're going to see.
so what I would like,
Yeah.
I would like Adam Warlock to be shown.
Okay.
Adam Warlock is the person who holds the soul gem of the one of the Infinity Stones on his forehead. Can suck people into a reality marble and hold them there indefinitely, basically.
Okay.
He can't hold multiple souls there, but like he can basically hold you prisoner for however damn long he wants. Very powerful guardian of the galaxy.
Okay.
So that's where he comes from.
Okay.
And rumored that he's
second
going
one
to
is
be
coming
joining the Guardians in the next movie.
Okay.
Which comes out next year. The one that I think we're gonna get is I think we'll actually get a peek at Hulk.
Okay.
What going on with him, because he's gonna be in. Huh?
Yeah,
I hope. Hulk's
Like-
one of my
he went away.
favorites.
Yeah, I think we'll see what's going on with Bruce Banner. I think that's what's going to happen at the end of it. Because he's going to be in Thor Ragnarok, so we're going to get a team up between Hulk and Thor, who are honestly the most powerful people.
Do you
in the
think
universe.
we're going to see any sighting of a cutscene of Doctor Strange?
No.
Okay.
I don't
No, that's a completely different.
No, not because of that. Because I think there's not any weight to it.
Okay.
You know, same thing with
Got
Ant-Man being like Ant-Man wasn't
Right.
seen at the end of Avengers 2.
Right.
For a good reason. There's no
Right.
reason to put him there. And I think it's the same thing. With
You know, I
Steve.
was thinking about something earlier today, and that's this. We have, besides this movie that's, with all of these, this is like what they're calling Avengers 2.5.
Yeah.
We now have a lot of solo projects coming up in the next, I'd say 3 years, maybe.
Until Avengers 3, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've got Black Panther, we've got Homecoming, we've got the Thor movie, the third Thor movie, we have...
But that's not a complete solo.
Right, yeah, but... So you have a couple, if not 3 or 4 solo movies, and then you're going to put everybody not group them, but eventually everybody's going to be in Infinity Wars. Now, you were saying that the cutscene you wanted to see involved somebody that had an Infinity Gem.
Yeah.
I don't... The Russo brothers have come out and said you're not going to see anybody with any... This is not a gem movie.
Yes.
So...
No, that's true.
So, I mean, that there could be,
And I think the movie itself doesn't have an Infinity Gem. But
well,
I think
that could be a cutscene at the end, and that's... I was thinking about
that's
that
their
myself.
way out. I mean,
so...
not to spoil anything, but we just had the biggest Lion TV history come before our eyes on Sundays.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one of those things. I think that, well, I mean, I don't think, I know. This movie is going to just take off. And it's Marvel... It's funny because the Marvel Cinematic Universe just turned 8 the other day. And it's hard to believe that 8 years ago... Yeah. Iron Man came out 8 years ago. Yeah, a few days. And it's just like... And now, we've got another dozen movies come out in the next few years. And
Think of Robert Downey Jr. and how
and
he has become Iron Man.
Well, and that's the thing. In all honesty, you make a good point, Shelby, because if they cast somebody else as Iron Man... I don't know that movie takes off.
No,
Right.
Tony Stark... Robert Downey Jr. has said he's in this for the long haul.
I would love to know... I would probably never see it. I'd love to know who the other 3 or 4 they were thinking of.
For
Iron Man. Because if they don't
they put out a list. I don't remember who was on it.
I would love to see that, because...
I don't remember who was on the list, but they did put the list out.
Yeah, that would be astonishing.
Yeah.
Because if you see somebody that you go... Now,
Wait.
Mel Gibson, for example, I'm just throwing a name out there, like, oh my god, him?
Yeah.
No way! So...
They'd have to get someone that looks exactly like him and acts exactly like him, but is like...
No,
They couldn't.
Robert Downey
They have to
Jr.
change him completely.
He has the gall for it. That's what
Yeah.
makes him
See, I think
Iron
he can
Man.
do it for another 10 years.
Yeah,
Easily.
So I
has
don't
the
think-
energy
Still
for
looks
that.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any problem with that being
Well, at
cast.
least until 2020.
Well, until 2021, I think is when Infinity Wars 2 is, right?
2020 because 18 is part 1.
Okay, I thought it
So-
got pushed to 19. Okay,
Yeah.
so here's my thing. So I got 2 questions for you guys. One, who are you most excited to see in this movie?
Stanley.
Good call.
Yes.
Nice.
No,
His-
in all
his
honesty,
wonderful
he's
cameo.
made a cameo in every single Marvel movie.
Yeah,
and X-Men
that
movie.
so in
No, anything that has Marvel attached to
yeah,
it.
so
He's in
that,
it,
that,
yes.
that was a
Yeah.
great call. But I mean, so
Even
that
Big
would be
Hero 6.
interesting.
Even Big Hero 6, which is which was done by
Disney.
no, it was there's another. It's owned by another comic book series,
Is that
but
Pixar?
Marvel owns
Yeah.
that comic
Except
book.
yeah. So who are we excited to see? Oh wow, that's a good one because I don't know. I would have to probably say Black Panther only because
Charlie,
That's
like
mine too, yeah.
as you were making mention earlier, this is a character that everybody knows but doesn't have any idea about.
Like they know
And-
his name, they've seen his
Exactly,
costume, but
we
who
know-
the heck is this guy?
Exactly,
You know?
and I think
Definitely.
that because the backstory is so fascinating
Yeah.
that they want to say, "Oh wow, let's see where this is going to go."
Yeah.
Because we know Iron Man, we know Scarlet Witch, we know
Well,
now.
now.
Well, now we do, but we know
It's like how many
Captain
people
America,
knew
we know
Obi
Bucky,
Garbage, the
and
character?
it's like I think the other cool thing too is, and somebody was touching upon this, is Vision. I mean,
Yeah.
Vision is one of those characters. You're sitting on the couch with the GQ, like look, and it's like
I guess as they put it, I was born yesterday. Like,
yeah. So
like
but
such a cheeky bastard.
but I think it would probably be Black Panther for me. So who are you most excited for?
Jeez. I don't. Man, you're asking. This is just too hard. I just am so excited as a whole.
I think
It's hard to
exactly.
yeah.
nitpick and pick my favorite. I don't know. I mean, Spider-Man, I guess, but I know he was in the trailer. I'm just excited who they're gonna throw in there
Okay.
as wait, what? He's
Yeah.
in this, or she's in this? What?
Well, I think that was the Spider-Man,
Yeah.
the oh shit moment
Yeah.
when he comes in. So I think
Yeah.
that would probably be it.
Yeah. So I'm just excited to see the movie and see how that actually plays out.
Yeah.
All right.
Who are you? So is it Black Panther?
Yeah, well, I thought it was Black Panther for me just because he was gonna have he's finally gonna have his own movie in the next couple
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I
I
I think
think
next
that-
year actually.
Is
yeah,
it
it is
next
next year.
And
So
then-
it's Doctor Strange and then
Black
Black
Panther.
Panther
Then we
comes
get
out.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Then we get Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, so I mean they've got it, they've got the next 10 and 12 years lined up, so
Next 7 years.
yeah, at least.
No, it's
So-
Well,
gosh.
it-
Wait,
yeah,
we're in 2016. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So,
Wait.
but-
2020,
and
2022
that's a
is
whole
when
other
I think
show.
the last one. Which
I thought they
the
had
the
a
last
list
movie that
for
they had, doesn't have a release date anymore, which was Inhumans.
Yeah.
So Inhumans, that movie got dropped, which I hope actually doesn't. I hope happens because they've been putting Inhumans in Agents of Shield, and I'd much rather see a more serialized version of Medusa, Black Bolt,
Yeah.
all these Inhumans. You guys are like, who are these people?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
no,
that
but
doesn't
no,
sound like
honestly,
Marvel.
I know who
that's
Medusa is.
that's
It's
that's
not
one of
not
those
the
that you
Greek
need
goddess.
to catch up on.
You know.
Okay, so I think
Sorry, the last question I had
Yeah.
is so looking forward to those movies. What movie and what character are you most looking forward to in the further of
Phase
Marvel?
4?
Yes.
Oh wow.
For the rest of Phase 3 and Phase 4. I'll put both of
think-
them in there.
I'll be honest with you, I think it's Thanos.
Thanos?
I think Thanos.
No, I'm
is-
saying the movie.
Okay, well, this movie here.
No, I'm saying so specifically in a movie. So a character that is going to have their movie.
Oh, I see what
Yes,
you mean.
yeah.
Well.
But Thanos is a good answer.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I'll be honest, he could have his own movie. Seriously.
That Titan Thanos.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to get back to you next week on that.
Aaron?
But
No, I actually don't have one.
yeah, so
Shelby?
yeah,
True.
he's like, okay.
God.
You guys kind of took it. But yeah, definitely I'm excited for Black Panther. To see
Yeah, so
Most excited for me, actually, Captain Marvel.
yeah,
Oh,
Captain
yeah,
Marvel.
That's gonna be a good one too.
Captain Marvel is Carol Danvers. People don't know who the heck she is.
it's like another one like Black Panther.
Yeah, and I feel she definitely needs more attention. And I swear to God, if they don't cast Katie Sackhoff as Captain Marvel, I will be pissed.
But see, in all honesty, though, what we were just talking about casting,
She would be the first.
Marvel
female,
is
too.
Marvel is outstanding outstanding
their casting, yes.
at casting.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
whoever they
One of their
cast,
strong suits,
whoever they
definitely.
do cast, even if it's not your choice,
Yes.
whoever they do cast, it's
No,
going
I
to be a
agree.
great choice.
I agree, but I hope it's Katie
Right?
Sackhoff.
No, absolutely.
You know, I need my Starbuck back.
What,
Yeah.
what year is that movie coming out, anyways?
I believe that is 2019
Yeah.
now.
Nice.
She's
Or
gonna be the
Captain
first
Marvel?
Captain Marvel, I think,
Yep.
is 2019 now.
March 8th, 2019.
Nice.
Yeah.
She's the first woman
Good
who's
old
actually gonna have her
March.
own.
Yeah.
Maybe there's talks right now that there might be
women.
a Black Widow
What?
movie, which I mean would be interesting, but like I would be okay with it, but I think it would just be pandering at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I
I would
think
much rather, if you're gonna have another female character, She-Hulk.
Yes!
She-Hulk.
Yes!
yes,
Like Jennifer Walters' best superhero.
yes. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up. For
It's just my
this
thoughts,
one, what we're gonna do is Friday. Well, I'm gonna go see it. Skylar's gonna go see it, and so we're still on the fence with these two.
Yeah.
If not, we're gonna have fill-ins.
Yes.
I'm still on the naivety side, and I'm trying to.
Not
catch
a
up
problem,
to-
not a
to the
problem.
point
You
to
know
where
what?
I
If it's
can
just
watch
you
it.
and me, we'll
Well,
like.
yeah.
Gotta watch it.
We got to fill in. So
I'm coming to
But
you guys there.
okay, so that's all for the time being. Spoiler cast is going to be on Friday, and
When we record,
that's-
yeah.
So that's
When it goes up, we'll know.
exactly.
Awesome.
I'm David Caduto,
Shelby Stewart.
Aaron Lanuza.
I'm Skylar Barty.
and you've been listening to C&E.
May the 4th be with you. 4th be with you. 4th be with you. 4th be with you.